YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montez, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Nicholas Montez. Welcome back to my YouTube channel for everybody. I'm so excited to have y'all back here together again. And in today's video, we're reviewing the 5th episode of Moon Knight, Asylum. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started reviewing the 5th episode of Moon Knight. So for me, I actually thought this was a bit of a step up from last week's episode, because last week's episode was a bit disappointing, as we thought we were going on this big gigantic Egyptian adventure, trying to save something with Egypt, trying to stop Harrow, and then it just turns into like this whole thing took place inside Mark's head, or Steven's head, and then the episode ends with like this hippo character. And there's a lot of stuff that I thought was explained in this episode that I thought worked. First off, let's just talk about the main thing, and that the hippo character is actually an Egyptian goddess, which I'm not really sure why one of the Egyptian goddesses has to be a hippo. But hey, this is Marvel, so this is what they decided to do. Well, actually, this is what they decided to do in the comics. But what I personally loved about this episode is the fact that they actually give the backstory of Stephen Grant and Mark Spector, where Mark Spector is the actual persona of the character Oscar Isaac is playing. Stephen Grant was created for all the trauma that Mark Spector went through. And to me, that's actually kind of interesting. It's a little bit confusing of how he created Stephen Grant in the first place, but at the same time, it's a very cool way in the way they did it. But like the trauma that Mark Spector had to go through, the fact that all the trauma that he had to go through made him an assassin, and then made him become the Moon Knight. It seems like a great story that I feel like I want to see more of, and that I feel like that this part of the story could have been well done for a movie, but who knows? But and then, there are some pretty cool action bits, especially when you get onto the boat. And, Stephen Grant is like the hero of this episode. He basically uses like a bat to take down all these mummy creatures. And it's awesome. And then you do get like a bing bong sequence at the end where he where Stephen Grant basically turns into like stone, a mummy stone or something, I don't know. And then he ends in like the and then it ends like in the ancestral plane, kind of like it, but not really, like a field. And that's really how the episode ends. You do get more of Great Harrow, which I love. You didn't get Layla, unfortunately. You did get more of this hippo, which I did like, and she was likable and stuff. And the fact that she actually mentioned the ancestral plane. So there were some things in this episode I did like. But we have to move on to the bad now. And for me, unfortunately, there are a bit of problems with this episode. First off, as much as I love the way they do the origins of Mark Spector and Stephen Grant, I'm just a little bit confused of how the way this third act is going to play out. Because I honestly have no clue of how the third act of this show is going to turn out. Is he going to be able to go back? Is the Moon Knight actually going to be able to go back? And honestly, this show doesn't really feel like a Moon Knight series. It feels like that the whole Moon Knight plotline is just in there because you're making a Marvel show, so you have to have a superhero name and so that way you can bring in the action. It's more of a character-based show of focusing on him with different personalities, and to me that's awesome. But I just feel like the way they're setting up the finale is just so weird. But yeah, that's really my review for episode 5 of Moon Knight. Before I give my final score, be sure to comment down below. What were your thoughts on episode 5 of Moon Knight? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Right between? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section below. With that said, let's get on my scores. Alright, so that's it for my scores, but we're not done here yet. We have one more thing to do before we end this video, and that's to talk about some theories I have, including this episode of Moon Knight. So let's go ahead and talk about some theories. And honestly, I feel like that the finale, if anything, I honestly feel like the finale is just gonna end up being another pretty lame finale where basically Moon Knight comes back, but at the same time, this episode will probably have the best action. Hopefully, it will. And they actually do big, incredible things, and hopefully, Harrow actually fights like he's not just a doctor. He actually fights, and we get some Layla action as well. So, we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen in next week's episode. Maybe we'll get some teases of what Moon Knight will appear in next. And yeah. So that's pretty much everything I have to say about this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff is in the About section over there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.